This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, our Dolphins are part of this article that I read. Brace yourselves, okay, because there's some news coming out of it. It's not good. It's worse for Bill, actually, reading this article because it actually really trashes the Bears. And so
They deserve it.
In this Sporting News article, they go over the free agency moves of certain teams and what were the best deals and what were the worst deals. So let's go over some of this from Sporting News. Okay? Best deal at quarterback. You know what they labeled it? Was Tom Brady going to the Buccaneers. 2 years, $50 million. Okay? Worst deal. All right? The Bears.
Jimmy Graham.
Giving up a fourth-round pick to the Jags so they can get Nick Foles. We're talking about the quarterback.
Oh.
And he's still getting $21 million guaranteed. Okay? So
for the next 3 years.
They gave him a D grade. Running backs. The best deal on the market they felt was Todd Gurley's 1 year, $5 million deal with the Atlanta Falcons. And I could say that would be a good deal if he's healthy and he can run. If he looks like what he looks like the last couple years, it'll end up being It won't be a bad, terrible deal because it's only $5 million. It's not really the end of the world in today's NFL. I know $5 million for you and me is an enormous amount of money, but in their cap, it's not really a big deal. $5 million if they throw it away. They're trying to hit on gold for $5 million. And if he ends up being a bust, whatever, it's not the end of the world.
And Atlanta got him based on geography, right? He went back home.
Yeah. Worst deal at running back was the Houston Texans adding David Johnson. Swap of fourth-rounders with the Cardinals. The Texans essentially got Johnson and a second-rounder for DeAndre Hopkins. Okay? And he is in guaranteed $10.2 million this year. They gave him a D for that one. And by the way, they gave Atlanta B- for Gurley, okay? And they gave Tampa an A for Brady. I didn't give those. Wide receiver, best deal out there? Cardinals, of course, trading for DeAndre Hopkins. They got a hell of a star for him to go along with Kyle Murray and Christian Kirk and Larry Fitzgerald and Isabella and the boys. So they got an A, okay? Plus they tagged Drake, so they're keeping him. Worst deal, as expected, the Bills. They ended up trading the world for Stephon Diggs. They got Diggs in a seventh-rounder, but they gave up a 2020 first-rounder, a fifth-rounder, a sixth-rounder, and a fourth-rounder in 2021, which, again, is just way too much for Stephon Diggs, who, by the way, is also injury-prone. Tight ends. Best deal on the market, according to Sporting News, was the Browns signing Austin Hooper to a 4-year, $44 million deal. Should help Baker Mayfield, and they gave him an A. Worst deal was the Bears signing Jimmy Graham to a 2-year, $16 million deal. A guy that's got an absolutely chewed-up knee, and just
$9 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
The last couple years, he's had Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, and he's caught 3 touchdown passes in 3 years.
33. Well, he's 33. That's why.
Yeah.
3 years, 3 touchdowns, 33. He wants to kind of stick with his age. So I kind of get it. Offensive tackles. Best deal, according to Sporting News, was Jack Conklin signing a deal with the Browns. 3 years, $42 million. They clearly needed a tackle to help out their Baker Mayfield so he can find Austin Hooper downfield. Worst deal was the New York Jets signing left tackle George Fant, which I agree it's a terrible deal. 3 years, $30 million for a part-time guy that's been a backup his whole career pretty much. They gave him a C-. Guards center. The best deal, the Broncos, Graham Glasgow, 4 years, $44 million. They needed, obviously, to beef it up for Drew Lock and improve the run game. They got an A. So Philip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon will have a better line because Graham Glasgow is there. Worst deal, our beloved Miami Dolphins. How about that? That's right, Eric Flowers getting a 3-year, $30 million deal. What did they write? They said, good for Flowers for resurrecting his career at guard with the Redskins after being a first-round tackle bust with the Giants. This is good recovery contract-wise for the 25-year-old. The problem for the Dolphins is that he's more of an average solution for a big problem. There was a bit of desperation with this move, spending just to spend. They gave him a D on that one. And Eric Flowers is the reason why I gave the Dolphins an A- in free agency. Okay? Why? Because Flowers was terrible as a tackle, and he played 1 year as a guard and was good for Washington, but I don't know if it was an aberration or not. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he played well, but I don't know if he can continue, so that's why I made it an A-. He's got to continue to, we'll see. But again, this is the kind of deal that they can get out of quickly. It's not the end of the world, so it's not the worst deal out there. But I can see why you would question it because he's been so terrible throughout his career. Defensive tackles. Best deal, Javon Hargraves, who signed with the Eagles, 3 years, $39 million deal. The former 3-4 nose tackle is now with Jim Schwartz and the boys, so we'll see how he does in a 4-3. Worst deal, Cardinals signing former Dolphin Jordan Phillips, who was with the Bills, and he had a really good year last year. Now listen to their explanation why Jordan Phillips was a bad signing by the Cards. Phillips made sure he would get a big payday with a career-high 9.5 sacks in 2019. But going into his age 28, much of that production spike was related to scheme and supporting personnel. The Cardinals will get good returns against the run, but will not get much bang for the buck in the pass rush. We shall see. Jordan Phillips can play whenever the hell he wants. If he wants to play, he can be a good player for the Cardinals. If he doesn't want to play, we've seen what could happen. Edge rushers. Brace yourself, Dolphin fans. Best deal, Falcons signed Dante Fowler to a 3-year, $48 million deal. Had 11.5 sacks last year for the Rams. Worst deal, the Bears. Not us, the Bears. I freaked you out, huh? Signing Robert Quinn to a 5-year, $70 million deal. He had 11.5 sacks last year, but he's entering age 30, and there's a good chance he starts to fade back in a 3-4 after getting overpaid. The Bears will be disappointed in return as an expensive older complement to Khalil Mack. They gave him a D on that one.
That's us, man. We needed offensive linemen. What do? We go out and get Jimmy Graham. And then I saw Ebron went to the Pittsburgh, and it was like $12 million. 6 mil, 2 years.
Yep.
And I'm like, the guy's 26, 27 years old, way more production, and you pay Jimmy Graham $4 million more.
Yeah, I know.
We need offensive linemen. You got a tight end that doesn't even block.
Ebron's had some injuries, and he's also been inconsistent as hell at times too.
Dropsies, big time. Yeah.
Like Jimmy's not a lazy dude. Like you're not really. It's just physically what's slowed him down, and he's just not the guy anymore. You know.
Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers the last 3 years, 3 touchdowns. Like we don't have a quarterback. You think his numbers are going to go up? Give me a break.
Linebackers. Best deal, Raiders, Corey Littleton, okay, and Nick Kowalski. Las Vegas, 2 big deals transformed one of the worst linebacking cores in the league. Littleton's a rangy elite cover man, and Kowalski emerged last season as an active, all-around playmaker. Their games complement each other well on the weak side and middle, respectively. This was a great 2-step plan by Mike Mayock, A grade. Worst deal, Lions signing Jamie Collins to a 3-year, $30 million deal. They gave him a C. Cornerbacks. Best deal out there, Chargers. Getting Chris Harris Jr. for 2 years for $20 million. He is 31. Worst deal. Byron Jones for the Dolphins. 5 years, $82.5 million. You want to see what the Sporting News said about it? Jones is a very good and versatile cover man, despite the fact he didn't contribute many big plays in the form of interceptions to the Cowboys. But between back-to-back contracts that reset the corner market with Jones and Howard, the Dolphins now have a ton invested in one position for a defense that still has a lot of holes elsewhere, despite the Van Noy signing. The Dolphins' spending power wasn't wielded nearly as well as they thought as that of the Browns, given Miami is more of a rebuilding team. They got a C for that. I completely disagree with that. I know he doesn't intercept the ball, but he doesn't get burned either. So I'm good with it. I get it. He's not going to have a ton of interceptions. I understand. Is he going to cover the guys? Yes. Well, I'm good. I'm fine. Deflect the ball. Don't let the other guy catch it. So if they're not getting 100 yards on you every week and they're not scoring touchdowns on you every week, then I'm good. I don't need you to come up with 9 interceptions. It would be nice, but if you don't, that's fine. Just don't let people catch the ball. Safeties. A best deal was Von Bell for the Bengals, 3 years, $18 million. They gave him an A. Worst deal was the Texans with Eric Murray, 3 years, $20.5. And they gave him a D. So our Dolphins got a couple of bad notes from Sporting News on their free agent moves, which I disagree with, but it is what it is. What are you going to do? But I wanted to throw it out there because, hey, man, you want to hear other opinions out there, not just yours, not just mine. See what, other people are saying about the Dolphins, So there you go. Best and worst acquisitions in free agency by Sporting News.